I've surrounded you by your block.
Yeah.
So hopefully this will.
I'll try not to flow me on. I'm definitely knocking it over at some point.
James Milner is a player who arrived at Liverpool, guaranteed a midfield role under Brendan Rodgers, turned into a bit of a utility man under Jurgen Klopp. But whatever you call him, penalty supremo, European Cup winner, Mr. Versatile, Mr. Reliable. We sat down with the man to discuss his Liverpool career and the secrets of how he takes them penalties.
Alcatraz. A couple of years ago, you and Jurgen, is this the time when he was telling you that you're going to play left back for the next season?
Yeah, a bit around that time. I can't remember if it's before or after that. I'm frowning, so they might have already told me.
How was it? You obviously transitioned from being a midfielder playing fullback. How do you find that season? I know that you weren't a massive fan of it, but
yeah, not easy. I think obviously a completely new role and how we play is different to an old traditional fullback and things like that. So different learning. But once I've made that decision, I want to be the best I can at it. So I tried to do everything I can, worked hard in training, and tried to do the job to the best of my ability.
And what's your relationship with Jurgen like? What's it like to work under him?
Yeah, pretty good, I think. I'd like to think that. Obviously, you'd have to ask him for his side, but he's a top manager. He's shown that since he's been here and before that. Great character, enjoy being around him, and he's got both sides. He can have a laugh and a joke, but he can also go absolutely mental as well when it's needed. So that's important, judging that, and more often than not, he gets that right.
And that's something taken during a pre-season tour over in America. In the book, you kind of mention a little bit about players being overly used, maybe, and the kind of concern in the future about players playing too much football. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that is an issue. I think the summers can be better organised. I'd say the major tournaments. If you had one summer a major tournament and then the other summer no games whatsoever, so every other summer the players get a full 6 weeks off or something, I think that'd help. I think that's important, the amount of games people are playing. But then again, obviously the different federations want their tournaments when it's not on at the same time as the other federations, so there's big audiences. So I think there's definitely a way of doing it, but unfortunately money always talks, and that's why they want to get as many games as they can. But I think it's important you look at some of the schedules of the boys and the international players, how many games they're playing, they're travelling. It's an incredible workload on the players mentally and physically, so I think it's important we can protect the players as much as possible, because ultimately people want to see good football, and if players are being overworked and getting injured and things like that, you're going to lose the best players that people pay money to see and want to see.
Next one then, so Europa League final. What was it like, first of all, to be captaining a club like Liverpool in a major European final?
Yeah, incredible. I think that season, obviously, we got to the League Cup final as well, and obviously getting to that was a massive game for us. Unfortunately, it didn't turn out well in the end, but like you say, to be captain of a club like Liverpool and their history and the success they'd had in Europe was a massive moment for myself, and just disappointed. We're in good shape going into half time and things like that, and just didn't start the best second half, and it's always hard against a top team to lose that momentum in a game like that.
Had we won that game, would have been back into the Champions League in what would have been Jurgen's first full season as manager. Instead, it was no European football, allowed us to focus on domestic football. Do you think that maybe had we won that game, it might have been too much for the squad at the time, or is it?
Yeah, I think you could look at that. I think not getting into the Champions League, sometimes it's with the amount of games you have. It'd have been harder, the transition we had as a team, learning how we wanted to play and changing that style and things like that. So obviously the next season we had less games and more training time, and worked very hard, a lot of double sessions, and not too many days off, even though we had free midweeks and things like that. So I think that was an important season in our transition as a team.
After the game, it's quite well documented about Jurgen's quite upbeat speech. There will be more finals, we will have more opportunities. What was that like as a player?
Yeah, tough. I think, especially after the game, it was tough. You know, you've got a party organised, and everyone's there, and all the hard work that the staff do. Everyone from Melwood's there and travelled, and you know, it makes you feel worse. All these people have worked so hard all year, and they're part of it, and you've let them down effectively. And you know, everyone who works with you, as long as all the fans who travel in, your family's travelled over to the game to watch the game. So that night's tough, and the nights after are tough, and it takes you a while to put it behind you. But if you can learn from it and use that experience, and the manager was adamant that we'll be back and we'll improve, and you know, he's been proved right. But I think, you know, nights like that and going through things like that as a team together, that's where your team spirit's formed, and that character that we've seen over the last few years, bouncing back from that shows how much character's in the squad, and nights like those and disappointments like those are what drive you on and make you become stronger.
More recently, obviously a very different post-match. Talk to us about that night, how you felt sort of completing your collection as a player, silverware-wise.
Yeah, I think like we've just talked about, the disappointments of the cup finals before that, the League Cup, the Europa, the Champions League final before that, 97 points and not winning the league, all these things, the disappointments, being close, made it feel even better. I mean, it obviously feels pretty good winning the Champions League at any time, to be honest, but I think going through all that as a squad, bouncing back, and playing for a club like Liverpool and seeing all the history, just contributing to that history was massive. I think it's amazing playing for Liverpool, and you know, you sort of have to earn that right to be part of the history at Liverpool, and you see all the great players. So to be able to put another Champions League on the board for the club is fantastic, and you'd seen the transition in the squad and the team, and I think that'd have been tough to bounce back from again if we hadn't have won that. So there's a lot of pressure on it, obviously going close in the league, the disappointments of the years before, that'd have been tough for everyone, including the manager as well, I think. So to deliver when it mattered most, and we all know it wasn't the prettiest game of football, but finals aren't about that, it's about getting over the line and winning it, and we managed to do that.
What about the parade afterwards?
Incredible, yeah, incredible. You know, you talk about it and the hairs go up again on the back of your neck. You see the amount of people that were there, all over the place, hanging out of windows, hanging off scaffolding. Unbelievable, really, and the whole parade was amazing. And then going down the last main road just was incredible again, and you just got to enjoy it. I think, you know, I couldn't speak for 2 days afterwards just from singing and shouting and just enjoying it with the boys, and that's the most special thing. I think it's sharing it with everyone, the fans. Obviously seeing your family. I didn't see my family till after that parade that night. That was the first time I seen my parents, and obviously the amount of football games they've seen me playing, but sharing it with the boys and the staff on that bus, all the hard work that people don't see, and you know, the people who don't get the recognition, all the people at Melwood, the backroom staff, things like that, to share it with them and them enjoy it as well and make them feel fully part of it. Obviously, to be successful, you need a great squad of players, but also people around you.
Did you see the fella on the roof in his mankini?
Yeah. That was what I was thinking about, yeah, on the scaffolding. Yeah, it was just things like that, and just seeing how much it means to people, and you see the big crowds, and then you pick certain people out in the crowd and see the emotion on the faces. It's a special time, and you have to enjoy it. It doesn't happen very often, and you know, there's plenty of lows and downs in your career. It's important when you get those ups.
Got a picture here of you, and what was it like? What's it like, first of all? You know, you kind of get a little bit of stick from City fans, and you've been kind of booed there. What's that like? Like, it seems a bit of a strange one.
Yeah, it's football, I suppose, and you know, I think it's probably a positive thing. I think when you leave a team and you go to a lesser sort of team who aren't a threat, I suppose you're not as relevant and maybe get a better reception when you go back. So maybe it's a positive thing that I don't get the best reception, but you know, I had a great time at Man City. I was lucky enough to win every domestic trophy there, played with some great players and became a better player there. So I have nothing bad to say about the club, and you know, obviously now I think of them a bit differently because they're big rivals, but you know, that good feeling's still there. They're a big part of my career and a big part of my life as well, and it's great to be going toe to toe with them now, and you know, it's disappointing they got one more point than us last year, but you know, it shows what a great team they are as well. So the fact you see maybe where we were when I first signed and the transition and being part of that transition at Liverpool and where we are now and going toe to toe with them is fantastic, and hopefully we can keep pushing them and fight as hard as we can for the title this year with them.
How important are those two games against City?
Yeah, they're important games obviously, and they're always tough games. You know, Anfield in the Champions League, it was a fantastic tie really. You know, it was a tough tie. We had a great spell in the first leg and obviously got the result, and then second leg was touch and go until we got the goal, and then it was comfortable after that really. So that basically sums up our games against City. They're always very tight, and like I say, last year was you look at the games back and you know you see their goal which hits the post and goes in, and ours which was cleared off the line and things like that, and that's at this level that's the margin for error, the you know inches, centimetres, millimetres, whatever it was. So it's tough to take, but that's football, and you know hopefully we can learn from those games against them this year, and we know how good they are. It's going to be tough to finish ahead of them in the league, but we've shown what a good team we are as well, and I think winning the Champions League last year and the confidence and the experience that we've got in from that will hopefully it'll stand us in good stead this year.
Got a picture here, nice little celebration last year. Something that you've thought of ahead of time or just spontaneous?
No, yeah, I'd thought about it. I think, you know, obviously getting a bit of stick from the boys about my age and go into it in the book about Virgil, and you know the stick he gives me if there's any old games on TV, he'll always ask what number I am, and the game's like from the 70s or whatever, so it's good fun, and you know the more and more I get asked about my age and things like that, which is fair, but in terms of myself I feel fine, I feel great. You know, no different to what I did 5-6 years ago, and so it was just a bit of a joke around that, and obviously it was a big penalty as well at the time. It was an important goal, so you have to enjoy those when they go in.
And what would be your advice, like to the youngsters in the squad now, to be able to keep playing at your level, at your age? Like obviously the Liverpool future is pretty bright. We've got another one here from more recently. You know, looking at that squad and these players coming through now, what is it your advice to them?
Yeah, I think just the setups now are incredible. At the academy, at Melwood, at the new training ground when it's done. I think, you know, just take that opportunity you get. Like in the book, we would talk about looking after each other, after the young lads, and also how it's changed since I come through and the level of detail and things like that, and you know they don't have to do as many jobs as we do and things like that, so you know there's good sides and bad sides to that, but I think they're treated like professional players from such a young age, so I think everything's there from her. I think don't waste a day, don't get caught up in the other side of it, concentrate and improve as much as you can and start the good standards then, because then it'll lead you through. You get one chance really, and you know you don't want to realise that you've missed an opportunity. You know, 5 years down the line, and being at Liverpool is an incredible opportunity, and the players you're around and the staff, so take that opportunity and do everything you can to be the best player you can.
Have you had to put a marker on, a Messi style marker on anybody like Harvey Elliott that's trying to give you a run around in training?
No, I think obviously you want to help the young guys and you want that confidence. On the field you want them to be arrogant in a good way and have that confidence and belief, and you want to encourage that. It's off the field then, you know, down to earth and make sure they're respectful, and you know, people will make mistakes, the young kids, and you know, they're in a privileged position, they're getting paid good money, so it's not easy, and hopefully we can help them learn before they make any mistakes and things like that. But on the field you want to encourage them to be confident and, you know, encourage them as well, but also they might need a rocket or a stern word here and there as well, and that's our job to judge that and help them along as much as we can. But you see the players in that photo there, and the amount of ability that's there is incredible, and there's not too many better clubs to be at than Liverpool, and the players they can watch every day in training and learn from, and hopefully take bits and put it into their own game.
Go on here, going head to head with Stevie Gerrard. What was it like playing against him?
Tough. He was a tough player. I was lucky enough to play with him at England, and you know, if ever he wasn't in the session, and he was in the difference when he wasn't in the session and when he was, the tempo just lifted. You know, even in a one-touch session, the passes he made, the pace he put on the passes, and you're expected to deal with them. And you know, that was the level he played at. He, as an all-round player, he's probably the best I've seen. He could do everything: both feet, score goals, defend, tackle, get about the field, lead by example. You know, unbelievable player to play with and a horrible player to play against.
Obviously that game there was a massive title game between City and Liverpool, and afterwards we saw quite an emotional Gerrard. As a City player, did you kind of feel for him a little bit, the way that it all ended, or was it absolutely none of that?
I don't think so. I think obviously now on the Liverpool side, I can say, yeah, you know, it's disappointing for his career and the amount of time played for Liverpool. He had an unbelievable career, and obviously to win the league would have been a nice touch for him. But you know, for me at that time, I'm on the other side of the fence, and you know, it was an unbelievable game. That game, we were obviously 2-0 down, come back to 2-2, and then you know, I think it was Phil scored that last-minute goal from probably an uncharacteristic mistake from Vinny. And you know, I just remember the atmosphere was incredible that game, and from that point we had to be perfect, and we managed to do the job with some tough games left and get the job done. And you know, I think you felt the buzz around that time at Liverpool coming into the game, and even when I signed for the club, there was still talk about the year we nearly won the league, and probably a hangover for a couple of years after that, really, and going so close and when people want it so much. So you know, that's something that I think the manager talked about, making our own history, and something, you know, a big reason why I came to Liverpool. I wanted to be part of a new chapter and an amazingly successful club, which maybe hadn't won as many trophies as they would have liked in recent history, and I wanted to be part of changing that. And I think you've heard the boys and the manager talk about it since. You know, we don't want to be remembered as the team that won the Champions League once. We want that to be one of a number of trophies, and that's the mindset within the squad, and the squad's more than good enough to do that. You
spoke about the atmosphere there, and you've played in big games at Anfield as an opponent and as a Liverpool player. So many people spoke about it down the years. What are your thoughts? Obviously, having been on both sides of it, how big a role does it play?
Yeah, I think it depends on your mindset. I think as an away player, you're aware of the atmosphere I always enjoyed. You know, you want to play in hostile atmospheres, you want to play in the best atmospheres. So it didn't affect me negatively when I played there as an away player, but you know, maybe that's me playing a long time or just the sort of character I am. But I think it helps more when it is on your side, to be honest. Now I'm there, it affects me more that it's on my side, and it helps me, as opposed to when it was against me. It probably helped me as well, because you want to shut the crowd up, keep them quiet, things like that. So I think you can see by the special games that occur at Anfield what a special place it is when the atmosphere is right up there. And you know, the Barcelona game, the Dortmund game, games like that, there's not too many places in the world, if any others, that can create an atmosphere like that and change games, really. And it is so important, and you know, that's why special things happen at Anfield.
Got a nice one here of you celebrating a penalty, Swansea away. I think this one is your penalty record. Do you thrive on it? Do you like taking them? Yeah,
I think you know, I've always wanted to be a penalty taker. I want that pressure. I want to have confidence in my ability, and I've worked hard at practicing them. And you know, you're going to miss penalties. Even the best players have missed penalties. I don't think there's too many who have gone perfect. So you have to be strong enough to know that could happen. But touch wood, more have gone in than I've missed, and there's been some big ones in there. Swansea was late in the game. There's Fulham, I think, was late on. Leicester last minute, things like that. There can be high pressure moments in the game, and you don't want to let your teammates down who've worked so hard to give you that opportunity. But you have to have confidence in your ability to do the job.
The man who brought you to Liverpool, what was the key factors in coming and signing for Brendan? Obviously, there's been a lot of reports on a midfield role. Was that kind of key to it?
Yeah, speaking to him and my role within the team was exciting. I think I was in a fortunate position at the time. If I'd have stayed at City or moved to Liverpool, I would have been happy. I had two amazing options, but like I said before, when I went to City, it was a chance of, again, a big club, but who hadn't won things for a long time, and be part of that, and starting a new era, if you like, a successful chapter in the club's career history, and the same at Liverpool. And like I said before, I wanted to be part of that, and how close they'd been to winning the league a few years before. Speaking to the manager and his part, how he saw me fitting in, and just how he worked as a manager. It was great to work with him just for that short time. So thorough, amazing training sessions, good man manager as well. So grateful he brought me to the club. Disappointed when he left. Obviously, it's never easy when the manager changes and he signed you, but you have to adapt to that. But obviously, he'd done a lot of good groundwork and came so close to winning the league for Liverpool as well.
What's it like when a manager leaves a club? Players talking amongst themselves. They must see the news. This manager's been in. This manager's been in. What's the chatter like?
Yeah, it's a tough time. I think obviously football's about opinions, and not everyone's always going to like you. I'm sure even Messi and Ronaldo, people think they're not the best players. So that's the strange thing about football, and the toughest part. When the manager changes, you have to prove yourself all over again, and you might fit into his plans, you might not, and things like that. So it's an uncertain time and difficult, and like people. That's the football side's hard enough. You have people who have moved country and have their families over here, and they don't know what's going to happen as well. So, as you can imagine, everyone is wondering what's going to happen, even down to the backroom staff as well, when they might bring their own staff in as well. So it's an uncertain time at the football club, but Brendan, it was great to work with him, but then obviously the new manager coming in, and you see how the team's evolved since then as well. Jurgen's proved what a good manager he was before he came here, and how good he is since as well.